During a recent summit between African leaders and the US government, one of the key issues discussed was the exorbitant prices of fertilizers, which are inaccessible to most farmers. This situation poses a threat to the crop cycle and stability of rural areas, with 205 million people globally facing acute food insecurity. Limited access to fertilizers hinders food production in many developing countries, as these substances are crucial for enriching the soil and ensuring healthy crops. Sub-Saharan Africa is particularly affected, with fertilizer prices tripling since early 2020, making them unaffordable for small farmers. The disruption of fertilizer exports from Belarus and Russia, two important suppliers for Africa, due to war, along with export taxes, bans, and licensing requirements imposed by other exporting countries to protect their own farmers, further exacerbates the challenge. In contrast, farmers in more advanced countries can afford to plant more and purchase more fertilizer, benefiting from subsidies that cover the cost of natural gas and diesel fuel. African leaders have repeatedly raised this crisis in various international meetings throughout the year, emphasizing that farming families in developing countries cannot survive or compete under such conditions. If current trends continue, with high prices for natural gas, coal, commodity crops, and fertilizer, and the increased consumption by wealthier nations with subsidies, the more industrialized economies will dominate global crop production and agricultural fossil fuel use. This will leave little room for farming in sub-Saharan Africa, particularly among poorer households, resulting in a severe food and jobs crisis, especially in rural areas. The ability to realign energy and fertilizer supply chains, making room for poorer farmers, will be a crucial factor in determining the severity and duration of the food crisis in Africa and the displacement of rural populations, already facing climate change pressures. This necessitates substantial changes in both advanced economies and developing countries. The first step is to create space for developing countries in global natural gas and fertilizer markets. While greater production is necessary to reduce Europe's dependency on Russia in the long run, it is important for advanced economies to avoid excessive stockpiling and production increases that could lead to shortages. Efficiency gains and reduced consumption subsidies should also be pursued, addressing not only the energy supply chain but also fertilizer application rates. Sub-Saharan Africa has low application rates, resulting in reduced crop yields, while other parts of the world continue to apply excessive amounts of fertilizer despite high prices. Explanations for the excessive use by wealthier farmers include the misconception that more fertilizer is better, the relatively low cost compared to other inputs, and the influence of crop subsidies. Africa can contribute to this realignment by improving internal trade and logistics barriers, as the continent produces twice as much fertilizer as it consumes but heavily relies on imports. Efforts should be made to address inefficiencies in shipping, port costs, distribution chains, and information availability, along with enhancing trade infrastructure and facilitation measures. Local production should be encouraged when feasible to reduce transport and logistics costs. In addition to external programs providing assistance, it is crucial to support market development and enable the private sector to ensure the availability of fertilizers in Africa. Investment in green fertilizer production, efficient use, and technologies that reduce greenhouse gas emissions can contribute to building more resilient and sustainable agricultural markets. Furthermore, repurposing fertilizer subsidies towards measures that reduce overuse and decrease the sector's carbon footprint while increasing availability can enhance long-term food system resilience. In conclusion, it is of utmost urgency to improve the accessibility and affordability of fertilizers to address the ongoing food crisis. We ask you, how can policymakers make informed choices to safeguard lives and livelihoods? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.